Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, you know how it goes. We can't have nice things. About a week ago, October 13, William Shatner went to space. He went up in Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin rocket. He was with 3 other people. It was a crew of 4. It was 2 paying people and a crew member and Shatner, who was a guest who was invited because he's William Shatner. They wanted to send Captain Kirk into space. They wanted the press, and they got the press. It was covered on live TV. Every channel was watching it. It was a big deal. I watched it live. I have never watched a space launch live, but it was William Shatner, for God's sakes. I may have had flashbacks to Challenger and was scared something bad was going to happen when I realised, wow, he's really going to space. These things blow up. Bad things happen. Something could happen to him. It was compelling for many reasons. And he went up. He had his little I think it's 4 minutes. They actually are travelling through the section of space just at the edge of the atmosphere, and then they come back down and they land. The rocket part lands by itself automatically, which is kind of freaky technology. It just keeps getting freakier. And yeah, now he became 2 things. He became the oldest actor to ever, the oldest man to ever go into space at 90, and also to be the first Star Trek actor to go into space and to become an astronaut after already being an astronaut, fictional astronaut. Now, like I said, we can't have good things. People could not handle William Shatner, an old white man, old cis white man, being having this achievement, being the first Star Trek actor in space. No, they have to drag out Mae Jemison. Now, Mae Jemison, she's fabulous. She's done a lot of documentaries on space. She's been interviewed a lot. She's a very prominent astronaut. She's well accomplished. She's an MD. Her title is Dr. Mae Jemison, MD. She was the first black woman to go into space. I think she was recruited by Nichelle Nichols when she was doing her recruitment drive. And she went to space in 1992, September 12th to 1992. Sorry, I keep jumping a decade. And then because she was famous, because she was the first black woman to go into space, and she knew Nichelle Nichols, and she was apparently a Star Trek fan, and that was part of her inspiration to become an astronaut. It was like a story. They gave her a spot on Next Gen. She was in an episode called Second Chances in 1993. She was a transporter operator. She had a couple of basic lines, and that was it. She isn't an actor. She didn't become an actor. She wasn't a Star Trek actor. She was an astronaut who got invited to have an extra or guest spot on Star Trek because she was an astronaut and she was famous. Now, this is called stunt casting, basically, where you take someone who's famous or important or something and cast them just because you get press and attention, not because they're a good actor or they're right for the role or anything, but because it gets attention. So now they're saying she was the first Star Trek actor in space. I'm like, no. She was an astronaut who got a guest spot on Star Trek because she'd already been to space and was an astronaut. William Shatner is the first actor who was on Star Trek as an actor, as a character, who then went to space, which was not his career. He's not an astronaut. He is technically an astronaut because he's gone to space because of this. And he's the oldest man to do it and the first Star Trek actor to do it. Now, people are acting like this is a race thing. Like, they're not acknowledging her because she's black. They're only acknowledging him because he's an old white man, old cis white man, No. Jeff Bezos, who was also an extra on Star Trek. I don't know if it was, I can't remember if it was the movies, the JJ movies, or Discovery. I don't think it was Enterprise. I think that was Jeff McFarlane, or whatever his name was, the guy who wrote the Orville. He was an extra on Enterprise. Jeff Bezos, I think, was in the JJ movies. And he went up into space a couple of months before Shatner on the first Blue Origin trip. This was the second Blue Origin trip Shatner was on. He went up on the first one, and no one acknowledged him. No one said, oh, he's the first Star Trek actor to go into space. Because he was only an extra. He was just there because he was Jeff Bezos and he was rich and famous, and it's stunt casting again. That's what it was. Or a favour to a friend if it's like an alien and no one's going to know who it is. But they always let it go for press anyway. And they've done this a bunch of times. They had someone from, I think, Rage Against the Machine was in Insurrection. Fleetwood Mac was in Next Gen. I mean, they do this stuff all the time. But yeah, no one said anything about him being the first Star Trek extra in space because nobody cared, because he's not a real Star Trek actor. But because Mae Jemison's black and Shatner's white, and we can't have a white man being like having an achievement or doing something positive without someone crapping all over it. Now we have to drag Mae Jemison out and say, no, she was the first Star Trek actor because we have to have a black woman be the first. It's this bizarre agenda that they have, even if it's not real. If she was the first person to do it, yes, she should be acknowledged, but she wasn't. She was the first, I think she was the first astronaut to appear on Star Trek, but she was not the first Star Trek actor to go into space. She was already an astronaut. Why do I have to keep explaining this? Why? I mean, people can't be so stupid not to understand this. It's just their narrative, and they're playing to it, and they've got an agenda, and it's ridiculous. I just had to say something because it was driving me nuts. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this ridiculousness. I'm going to go.